pregnant.
Are you serious?
I love you. And it's so sad because the night that I met my baby wasn't alive. Nick and I were just crying and I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, baby was so small and I couldn't believe how beautiful. I would just think of that every time we would do that song. I would just think of it and I would just start crying and I wouldn't be able to hold it in. I mean, sometimes I just had to stop singing and leave and go to the back of the stage. Hey guys, today I have a really emotional, sad, roller coaster story actually. And this is a story of my miscarriage, AKA how I was pregnant and then lost the baby and then went on tour a week later. It's a really emotional story, so get ready. I didn't think I was pregnant, but I just randomly decided to take a test. I really did not think I was pregnant though. I didn't have any symptoms or anything really that I knew of. And I took a test and I just kind of went around and did stuff in the bathroom and I was like, oh, I forgot I took a test, let me go look. And then I looked and I was like, what the heck? And I instantly burst into tears because I was like, I could not believe it was real. And I got a video of that, so I'll show you that. I just took a pregnancy test and I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's a faint line and I'm pretty sure it's not true. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna take it again. It's only like a few days before I miss period, so I'm gonna take it in a couple days. There's definitely a faint line. Oh my gosh. There's definitely a faint line. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, Nick's not even here. He's out of town right now. Oh my gosh, there's definitely a faint line. Oh my gosh, I don't want to get excited yet. Obviously, I'm excited because I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know if this is really positive. I don't know if I am pregnant, if I'm not going to miscarry or anything because it's so early. But just the fact that it looks like I am pregnant. My hand is shaking. This is literally like my biggest dream in life. Oh my God. And unfortunately, Nick was out of town and he wasn't gonna be back for a week. So I decided I was going to wait an entire week to tell him because I really wanted to tell him in person. I did not just want to call him. So I had to keep this to myself for an entire week. You saw in the video, I instantly thought about miscarriage because my mom's first pregnancy was a miscarriage and my mom actually had 4 pregnancies that ended in miscarriage, 5 children, 1 was twins. And I was like, okay, I will probably have miscarriages. And I kind of assumed I was gonna miscarry on this pregnancy, which is really crazy to think about. So the due date was going to be late in May, and I was starting to think about things and plan for the future and watch videos and just prepare and do everything and wait for Nick to get back. So he finally got back. He was so tired. He got back late the night before, and then the next day I said oh, we need to film an intro for some vlog thing. I made up some random thing. We never have to film together very often, so he was like, why do I have to film something? He was kind of confused and I was trying to make him a fake excuse. Are you ready? Try to sit up more normal.
I am normal. You weirdo?
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Nick.
And we're married. I just wanted to let you guys know. Actually, I have to tell you something.
What?
I'm pregnant.
Are you serious?
I love you.
I love you.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
I couldn't wait till you got back so I could tell you. Can you believe it?
No.
I know, me either. Are you so happy?
Yeah.
Me too. Can you believe that?
No.
Me either. I know, it doesn't feel real. We have a kid. Can you believe it? I'm shaking because I'm so excited and nervous. We already have a kid. Whether or not this pregnancy makes it all the way, we have a kid. Can you believe that? We have a kid.
Wow.
How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
200.
200? I'm surprised you didn't pick up on how nervous I was. I was shaking the whole morning. My heart was beating so fast. I kept thinking about it.
Probably because I'm so tired. I'm
yeah. The whole week, I've been screaming in my car, I'm pregnant! I'm pregnant! And I'm like, Nick, I'm pregnant. I've been saying it in my car all week because I was like, What is it gonna be like to say it out loud to you? I was trying to figure out how the heck do I tell my family, like how do I get everyone together at once? Can't be like, hey guys, Nick and I have something to tell you. I didn't want to do that. So I was like, oh, we should do a dinner because my dad is going out of town. So let's all get together as a family before he goes out of town. We did the dinner and I was like, okay, let's take a family picture that Nick took so that we can just be filming and get the reaction. And I got the reaction, so I'll show you guys. The moment they found out I was pregnant with the first grandchild of the family. Guys, before we take the picture, ready? I'll tell you something. I'm pregnant. Woo! Obviously, everyone was so excited. I think kind of shocked also because I am the first one to be pregnant in our family. So it was like first niece or nephew, grandchild, so exciting. I set my doctor's appointment date for a few weeks later. The week before my doctor's appointment, I started to feel weird and I started to feel kind of weak. And just kind of weird. I'm not gonna go into all the symptoms here because I think that would be too graphic for this channel, but on my channel, my personal channel that I haven't uploaded in years, I'm going to upload a video of me telling the full story like in graphic detail if you really wanna see that. I don't think everyone wants to see that. Anyway, I'm gonna keep it vague right now, but I had some symptoms that week that could indicate possible miscarriage or just normal pregnancy stuff. It was hard to tell. They were starting to get worse throughout the week. And I was like, I'm feeling really weird. So then we filmed When the Party's Over.
Don't you know too much already? I'll only hurt you if you let me.
I could barely stand up for that whole hour we filmed. I was like so weak and dizzy and just like, I don't feel good. I do not feel good at all. It was so difficult to film that I was just like trying to like fake it for the camera. Luckily it wasn't a super happy song, but it was so difficult to film that. And then it started to get worse. So the next day I went over to my parents' house and I talked to my mom. I was like, can you tell me about your miscarriages? Like what was it like before, during, after, whatever? She started telling me about them. We just talked for like a couple hours. And she's like, just lie down on your side. So I was laying down and she was telling me about them and I was like, oh, this is really tough. I don't know if I'm gonna miscarry. I don't know if I'm not. I couldn't go to the doctor yet because I wasn't a patient yet at this doctor. I could have gone to urgent care, but my symptoms weren't that urgent yet. So she was like, I don't really think you need to go yet. You're not really having any intense symptoms. So she kind of walked me through everything. I felt as prepared as you could be after she talked to me because I was like, okay, this makes sense. She had a lot of different kind of miscarriages at different stages in her pregnancy. So I felt like I really had a good grip. And then Friday, October 11th, I'm already about to cry because I'm thinking about it. Our 1 year anniversary of being married, we had a trip planned, which we did take. Luckily, it was just, thank goodness, it was just a driving weekend trip. So, I got in the car and he drove a couple hours and I was so, not even telling the story of it yet. I'm just in the beginning part kind of. It's already so hard to tell. I was in the car and I felt so weak. I was like laying the chair back because I was like, I don't feel good. My face was pretty like white. My lips were pretty, not white, but like pretty pale. And I just felt really bad. And my symptoms weren't that intense yet, but I just felt really weak. And I knew that something was really off. So we got to the hotel and we watched a movie and I started to get pretty bad cramps and they started to hurt more and more. And I was like, oh, this kind of hurts. I feel kind of weird. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to bed. And then I went to bed and I only slept maybe an hour. I don't remember. And I woke up and it started to be really bad. It hurt really bad. And I think I went back to sleep and I woke up again by the pain. It was just too bad at that point. So I was having contractions, so I was in labor. And oh, I forgot to mention, I was like 7 weeks at this point. I think I was almost 8 weeks, and I was having all the contractions that hurt really bad. And my mom had told me before that her miscarriages, some of them had hurt just as bad as the babies she had delivered, like the actual contractions and everything. It started to hurt to the point where I couldn't hold anything, and I was just like, and I was just like rolling around and just like, oh my gosh, this hurts so bad. Oh my gosh, it was really intense pain. I'm not gonna go into too much of the details, but it was really, really intense pain. Definitely the most painful thing I've ever felt, but I was praying the whole time and I just kept thinking like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And this is so weird, but our song, Worth the Fight, was playing in my head like the whole time. So it was like the chorus, like, I can take the pain, bring it on, let it rain. It's only gonna make me better in the end. And I just kept saying, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this the whole time. And then I did miscarry after 10 hours. I was texting my mom the whole time like, I think I'm in the middle of this. I would text her and then I'd go back to like, the pain would come and go. So when it wasn't so bad, I would text her for a second. I texted the whole family group. No one was awake really, except for my dad was awake. When I did miscarry, I texted them and I said, I just lost the baby and I don't want to go into any details, but I did see the baby and like save the baby. I don't want to go into detail here, but so I was like, Nick, we lost the baby. And he came in and I showed him and we just started crying, obviously a lot, just cried a lot. And literally the baby was so tiny. I'm not gonna go into the details, but baby was so tiny and I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, the baby was so small and I couldn't believe how beautiful. And Nick and I were just crying and I felt a sense of like peace, but also devastation at the same time. I was praying the whole time and I talked to my mom and I'd gone through all this in my mind and I felt this weird sense of peace, like, okay, my body was doing what it was supposed to be doing. Like, if this wasn't supposed to work out and the baby wasn't okay, like, this is what your body is supposed to do. I was trying to be gentle with myself, and I took a shower and I was singing like the whole time. Like, I know this is so weird, but I was singing I like recited the whole song of Worth the Fight, the entire song. I recited to myself, which is so weird, but it helped me a lot. It was 7 or 8 o'clock by that time. I tried to go to bed and I slept for 1 hour. I didn't really get any sleep. And then the next day, I couldn't really get out of bed. I was very weak once again. I had almost fainted during the miscarriage. Once again, I'll tell that whole story on my channel. I just laid in bed the whole day and tried to recover. And it was a weird day because we had good moments and we also would randomly cry a lot. We decided to name the baby. And the story of that is so beautiful. In my head, I didn't say this to Nick, I was like, I want to look up like what the word like hope is in Latin. I don't know why I was thinking that, but I don't know if Nick would want to do that or not, so I'm just gonna see what he thinks for a name. Because my mom told me that it really helped her when she named her babies. I didn't tell him that. We just started looking at names, and then he said, hey, what about Sparrow, S-P-E-R-O? And I was like, what? And then he said, it's I hope, or hope in Latin, Italian. And I was like, I was gonna look that up. I immediately started crying and I was like, that's already what I was thinking. That's 100% the name. I can't believe you just said that. That's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't tell you. And we both just started crying and I was like, oh my gosh, we named our baby. It was weird. It was a really like special and sad moment. I felt this feeling of like strength after it was over. And I just felt like, wow, this is really weird, but I felt like connected with all of the women throughout all of history who had ever gone through this before. It was such a weird feeling, but I was like, I feel so connected right now to all other women who have been through this. And I felt so strong. I was like, wow, I just did that. That was so hard, so painful, so sad, but I just did that. that. I can't believe how strong I am. I just went through that in a hotel room. I felt really proud of myself. I felt all these different waves of pain because I had been thinking about this for a while. I talked about it in therapy beforehand. Like, I'm really scared I might miscarry. Like, what if I miscarry? And I'd already talked it out before it happened to get kind of an idea of like what my fears and emotions would be. So I had already kind of started the process of thinking about it before. Catherine actually filmed her reaction. She said she just felt a feeling that she should film it, and we're gonna add that in here.
So I don't really know why I'm making this video, but I just kind of felt like I should. And I just wanted to say, I don't even know who I'm making this for, but Christina just lost her baby last night, and I'm really sad. It's such a big moment for our family to have the next generation of kids, and it was so exciting. And even though this baby is very much real, this baby has a soul, and this baby is in heaven, and that is a beautiful thing. It's just sad for us that we never got to meet him or her on earth, and I really feel the loss of that today. So I'm going into church right now, and I'm gonna pray for Christina and Nick especially, because I just can't even imagine how they're feeling. I mean, I'm feeling sad, so I can't even imagine how they're feeling about everything, and I just wish I could take all the pain away, because it's such a sad and hard situation.
And then I texted my family and asked them to come to my parents' house so I could be with everyone and talk to everyone. And most of them came over that day, and I went and I told everyone the whole story, and it was very healing to be able to say the whole thing. Was very healing to me. I know some people don't like talking about things, but for me, talking about it was very healing and very helpful. I texted a bunch of my friends right after it happened as well, and I was like, hey, I just had a miscarriage. I know I was gonna tell everyone I was pregnant the next week after my doctor's appointment, but I just miscarried, so please pray for me, blah, blah, blah. That was also very healing, telling my friends right away. And then we buried the baby and did like a little kind of like funeral, Nick and I did. That was a really sad, but really special experience once again. It did make me feel so much closure, because every time I would start to think about the whole experience, I would kind of like flash back to it. It would end in the funeral instead of just ending in the experience, and I could feel like the closure. It felt very like peaceful that it ended like that. We had planned our tour for months, and I was like, I mean, technically we could like cancel and redo these shows, but I was like, no, I mean, that's gonna put so much stress on us if we push these later. I don't want to do that. Looking back, I kind of think I probably should have done that, but I never experienced before. I didn't know what the recovery is going to be like. So I had 1 week to finish preparing for tour and then go on tour. Luckily, it was only a few shows and then a couple weeks off and then a few more shows, but still, it's definitely not a good idea. I could not stand up long enough to do all of the rehearsing at all the week before, which was very stressful. It was very difficult just sitting there being like, I hope I know what I'm doing on stage. I don't know how this is gonna go. I was nervous because I was like, I still had pregnancy hormones in me. They don't go away for like sometimes several weeks, or I think some people even months. So I still had those hormones, which made me very moody. During my pregnancy, I was very, very moody. So it was hard to practice for tour, and then we actually went on tour. I was nervous about being so emotional on stage, and I didn't know how it was gonna go. And there was a couple songs, that were just killing me. Before October's Gone, that one started to get me sad because I lost the baby October 12th. Before October was gone, so it was really sad. But then right after that, we just happened to plan it like this. We had The Night We Met. It's like the saddest song. Oh my gosh, it's so sad. You guys were wondering why I was crying during that song, because it's like a breakup song, so it's like, why is she crying? I mean, sometimes I just had to stop singing and leave and go to the back of the stage, because I was like, I'm crying so much right now. But it says like, I had all and then most of you, some and now none of you. And then it says like, take me back to the night we met. And it's so sad because the night that I like met my baby wasn't alive. So I would just think of that every time we would do that song. I would just think of it and I would just start crying and I wouldn't be able to hold it in and it would be really difficult. I know that sounds weird because I'm on stage, but it was nice just to let it out in this environment where everyone is really accepting at our concerts. Like, it's okay if you cry. So it's like everyone, they didn't know why I was crying, but people weren't acting weird about it. In my religious beliefs, we believe that the baby has a soul and the baby is in heaven immediately after death and can be there praying for you. So in my religious beliefs, I am a mother. I have my first child, just not on earth. I don't have my firstborn child, but I do have my first child in heaven. Even though it ended in a really tragic way, I'm still actually really grateful that it happened. I'm grateful that I can like have this experience to relate to other women who have been through it. I really connected with my mom more through pregnancy and through the miscarriage, and I felt like even more appreciation for her. I think it's good to feel all the feelings, and it's okay to feel really, really upset. Obviously, it's okay to feel grateful and to feel like this had some good things in it and also some bad. Like, there's a lot of different things that happen at once, and it's okay to feel everything at once or nothing at all in the moment. If you're going through something like this, you shouldn't get mad at yourself. Like, you should be feeling this or you shouldn't be feeling that. The last thing you need is to be beating yourself up while you're going through a hard time already. And now at this point, yes, Nick and I will be trying to get pregnant again, of course, and fingers crossed, hopefully that will work out. I am nervous to get pregnant again because I could miscarry again, but on the other hand, I'm like, I've been through it and I know I could go through it again. There's also other things that could happen that I haven't been through. I feel really proud of myself and really strong having been through this. So I feel hopeful overall. That's my pregnancy and miscarriage experience. If you want to see a more detailed video, it's gonna be very detailed, go to my channel, which will be linked in the description and maybe somewhere else. A lot of you guessed that I was having problems getting pregnant and that's why I was sad, but it's not the reason. You know, this was the reason. So I want to say thank you for everyone who knew I was going through a hard time, but you didn't know why. You guys were being so supportive and it was so helpful. I wasn't going to tell you at the time. I wanted to make sure I could get the whole video together so you could really like hear the full story, but I really appreciate your support anyway. And I just want to thank you guys for, a lot of you have been with us for 10 years. Some of you only been here for a year. That's totally fine, but I want to shout out if you've been here for 10 years. You've been with me since before I was married, and you've seen like a lot of my relationship, and this is really crazy to go through with all of you guys, but I just want to thank you for being there. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you so much for your support. And if you are going through this or any other hard time right now, I just want to tell you that you can make it through. You are strong. You're stronger than you thought. I learned that about myself, and you are going to be okay. Even if you don't think you are, you're not prepared. You've never been through this before. You're scared. You feel kind of hopeless. You're going to make it through and you're going to be okay. Keep your chin up and God bless you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.